What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Film Bros podcast. We are here today. Okay, quick backstory before we go and jump in and let you guys know what we're here today for.
Okay.
As you guys can kind of see in the background, this video was kind of planned for a while. Kind of been pushing it off due to other things. But now that the DCEU is not going to be continuing, we're going to go ahead and give you a ranking of the current DCEU. And as the new movies come out, because I know we still got Blue Beetle, we got The Flash, we got Aquaman. I want to say there's one more. No, that's it. Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman.
Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman. No,
that's
Shazam
too. See, one more. So with those coming out, we will be giving our definitive rankings as those come out. As of right now, we know the DCEU has been officially done. We know that Cavill's out.
Yeah.
So we wanted to share with you guys our current ranking before those new movies come out, and we'll place those as time goes on. Mm-hmm. But for today, we're going to be giving you guys a complete DCEU or DCU, whatever you guys want to call it, ranking. And we're also going to include not only the theatrical version of Justice League, but also Zack Snyder's, because it's part of the DCEU. Yeah, we don't know which one's canon yet, but because of that reason, we're going to go ahead and add them both to the list. So in total, we got about 12 movies altogether. We're going to start off naming them down the list real quick. Mm-hmm. We're going to start off with Man of Steel, the one that kicked everything off in 2013. Rotten Tomatoes score was at a 56, and the audience score was at a 75%. It had Henry Cavill, Michael Shannon, Amy Adams. Zack Snyder was the director for this one. Kicked off the DCEU. According to IMDb, the box office was at a $668 million global total at the end of its box office run. Mm-hmm. Next up, we had the follow-up, which was BVS, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 29%. A lot of critics didn't like it. Audience score of 63%. Had Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Jesse Eisenberg. Wound up making at the box office $873.6 million by the end of its box office run. And that one was also directed by Zack Snyder. Then we move on to the next project, which was Suicide Squad. The OG Suicide Squad, David Ayers. Had Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, Viola Davis. Rotten Tomatoes score was at a 26% with a 58 audience score. Percentage audience score. The box office run by the end of it was at a $746.8 million win. You know what's funny to me is that they said that these movies didn't make money, but it just seems like it was gradually getting there.
Yeah.
But that's just one of my thinkings when it comes down to this whole DCU thing. Next up, we had Wonder Woman. Came out in 2017. Mm-hmm. Rotten Tomatoes score at 93%. Audience score of 83%. So it was really, this one was actually pretty good. Directed by Patty Jenkins. Had Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, other actors. It was mostly about them too throughout the movie. By the end of its box office run, it accumulated $821.8 million. So not that bad as well. Then we moved on to Justice League 2017. Now this one gave credits to Zack Snyder, but because it was a botched up mess, I'm going to give the credit to Joss Whedon for being the director for this one. Had Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, Henry Cavill, Jason Momoa. We had the whole team for this one. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes score was at a 39%. With a 68% audience score. By the end of its box office run, it made $657.9 million. Now, that one kind of slid down, but I want to say it was because of all the controversy and everything that was happening, and people already knew it was going to be a botched mess, kind of like the Suicide Squad was. Next movie we went to took a big hiatus, okay? Or not that big, actually. By the following year in 2018, we got Aquaman, their best performing movie under the DC umbrella, with a 65% Rotten Tomatoes score and a 73% audience score. Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson, William Dafoe, James Gunn was the director. Wound up making a whopping $1.148 billion by the end of its box office run. One of the most successful properties within this DC universe. Shazam 2019, Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, Asher Angel, the little boy that played Shazam, 90% Rotten Tomato score with an 82% audience score, directed by David F. Sandberg. By the end of its run, it made $366 million. So it took a big dive after Aquaman. Took a really big dive. Was it a good movie? Yes, but kind of it didn't hold for whatever reason. Birds of Prey came out in 2020. That one was 79% Rotten Tomato score and a 78%. It had Margot Robbie, Rosie Perez, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, directed by Kathy Yan. Oh, it also had Ewan McGregor as, if you guys don't remember, Ewan McGregor was in the DC universe.
Yeah.
That movie wound up making $201.9 million by the end of its box office run. And right after that, the follow-up, right after that one, we got Wonder Woman 1984. That one came out in 2020 as well. Got a Rotten Tomato score of 58% with an audience score of 73%. Wow, a lot more people liked it than what I thought it was going to be. Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Pedro Pascal, directed by Patty Jenkins again, wound up making $164 million total box office by the end of its run. So these were both in 2020. I don't know if, could it have been because of the pandemic? Who knows? But didn't make the money back like it was supposed to. 2021, we also got Zack Snyder's Justice League. All the cast came back. It was Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill. Everybody was there. Got a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% from the audience score. Directed by Zack Snyder. Now, this one is kind of weird because it went straight to streaming. As of right now, from the numbers that I've gathered, and I had to go to a few different places to gather it. There's different. If you guys want to do your research, do your research. HBO Max was very shy on sharing the numbers, and so I don't even think till this day we have an accurate amount. But the best that I could find that was very consistent, that it made at least a good 650 million plus, and it's still obviously it's still on streaming, so it could still make more as time goes on. But as of right now, as of recording, this is what we got. We got the Suicide Squad that came out in 2021 as well. Got a 90% Rotten Tomato score with an 82% audience score. 90% critic score, a Rotten Tomato meter, and 82% audience. Had Idris Elba, John Cena, Viola Davis, Joel Kinnaman. This is when the DC Studios boss first dipped his toe in the DCEU. James Gunn, by the end of its run, it made $167.3 million.
Yeah.
Like I said, post-pandemic, could have been a better movie. Maybe it was just a flop because of that, but who knows? And Black Adam, the final movie so far in the DCU, has Dwayne Johnson, Aldis Hodge, Noah Centineo, 39% Rotten Tomato score with an 89% audience score. Jamie Colette Sierra directed the movie, and we got about $4 million, a little bit underneath, as the time of recording. I mean, it's still on HBO Max. I heard he's doing big numbers on streaming, so numbers can change. As of right now, in the time of recording this, it is right underneath 400 million, but it's about a hit. So it's there. But that's all 12 projects that we've had so far in the DCEU. Yeah. We had the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows, the middest of the middest.
It's so weird because you were reading off the box office numbers, and I was like, these movies were doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, and let me just speak on this real quick.
Before 800 million, bro. That's pretty good.
It is good, but see, it's not. See, that's where I think Warner Brothers was kind of being greedy, because it was a good number, but it's not what they expected, and that was the problem. So they said Batman versus Superman and its sleep should have went for $1 billion by itself. But
maybe if they didn't cut those 30 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. It's just little things that they wanted. If they would have played the game straight, they could have pointed the fingers and been like, "Nah, it was clearly because of him. It was the director." But because before the finished product, or at least letting it, see if it's gonna build to that, because it seemed like it was doing a steady going up till it hit that Aquaman point. And then I believe after Aquaman, that's when
Shazam.
everything started hitting the fan, and people were like, well, that's not connected to these people. And so it was just a big ordeal. We'll be discussing a little bit more in depth as time goes on with this video, but I kind of wanted to start jumping in and starting getting our thoughts and ideas. I've been full disclosure, guys. If anything matches up on this lineup, we are brothers. We probably think the same, but at the same time, we're completely different. We don't know each other's lists as of right now, so there's gonna be actual judgment in this video for sure. So with that, Josh, I want you to give me your number 12 spot. What is the lowest of the low, the worst the DCEU has put out as of right now?
The worst? At number 12, it's Justice League 2017. This movie was a mess. I couldn't even... there's so much wrong with it. Obviously, the bigger studio things, taking away Zack Snyder's vision, replacing him with Joss Whedon because of his whole family drama, pushing out the movie way too early, cutting it the way they did, reshoots, Henry Cavill's mouth, the list goes on,
Yeah.
It was just bad. It's so bad. I know the others are more, the other on my list are gonna be more opinionated, but this one's just facts. This one is just bad. I can't, when we had to rewatch it, when we did, I couldn't even look at half of it because it was just so bad. I couldn't. Even down to Steppenwolf, it was bad.
Yeah, they did a bad job with Steppenwolf. But if I want to be honest too, my number 12 is also Justice League, the 2017 version. It was just a botched mess. Yeah. And honestly, unnecessarily too. I mean, Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, and you hear a lot of people say, well, it's the same movie. But if it's the same movie, why not just edit it down? You know what I mean? Why didn't they just get editors and remake? It was just really weird that they brought somebody else in to try to make it more lighthearted and all that, and to CGI his mustache, and it was already said and done. For them to have went back, spent all this money, and then at the end they still put out another product that a lot of people say is the same, just longer and more fleshed out. It really just speaks volumes of how misled and how Warner Brothers handled their business, because there's no reason, and anybody will tell you, the Zack Snyder's Justice League has to be superior. I don't even have to tell you. Obviously, it's on this list. It's going to be a lot higher than this one, but it just shows the lack of leadership that was happening in Warner Brothers. Yeah,
the baseline is Justice League, because that shit was just terrible. I can't even... There's no redeeming qualities. Usually I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's bad, but there's, the only thing, if I wanted to be nice, the only thing is the little end credit scene where the two are about to race, Superman and Flash. That's it. That's the only redeeming thing. I can find that clip on YouTube, and that's it. I don't have to rewatch the whole movie for that.
I think, and a lot of people said, I'll give it a nice thing too, because it wasn't all bad. I think a good shining moment was with the Flash, even though he was completely different from Zack Snyder's Justice League. He still embodied that playful, he was us, in my opinion, the Batcave and doing all this stuff. He was us, and I really liked his version. The whole, I've never done battle, I just pushed people and ran away. I mean, it's true, because that's what they showed us in the one clip. He never really fought anybody or did anything crazy. He would just help out whenever it's needed and, be on his way. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I could nitpick, but at least with the Ezra Miller part, I can't really get mad at it with that movie. But everything else, down to Steppenwolf's design, to just the way that they edited and cut it, that "Do you bleed" line was just so stupid. It's I can't say that I will never watch this movie again, because I mean, it does have somewhat of rewatch value, but Zack Snyder's Justice League just basically made it obsolete. Nobody's gonna be like Zack Snyder's or Justice League. If they want a more condensed, stupid version, they're obviously gonna go for the Justice League. But that's all. I mean, that's all the praises that movie's gonna get from me. I mean, it's number 12, so lowest of the low, dirt of the dirt. But what is your grade for it?
Yeah, no, this movie was bad. I'm giving it like a. I'm gonna give it a 1. 1 out of 10. This movie was bad.
Oh, completely down there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, I'm gonna give it a little fair, a little bit more fair shot. I give it a 4. Though it was a bad movie, it wasn't. Like I said, there was a little shining moments. One thing that a lot of people like to say is that Superman felt happy and like happy Superman in this one, and I kind of felt that. I kind of felt like he was more happy in this one, a little bit more, a little too much in my opinion, because it kind of felt more campy than anything. And I know Superman's supposed to be kind of campy, but so I hated it because the CGI mustache is so distracting. But his performance as Superman was really good in that one as well, and Ezra Miller's Flash, it like I said, it shined a little bit. I will say, here's one thing, and hot take, I'll die on this hill. I do like the opening credits for Justice League. That song that plays that everybody knows, and like the disarray that was happening in the beginning of the movie and everything. It just, I will say, out of all that movie, I would say the opening credits had me. Like, if I could rewatch the movie and just watch the opening credits and be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I would do that. Like, it was really
it's over
good.
now.
Yeah, so I have to give it at least a 4. I can't put it all the way down there. It did have some redeeming qualities, but not a lot.
All right.
Not a lot.
I guess that's fair.
Okay, so with that, we're gonna move on to number 11. Josh, what is your number 11 pick?
My number 11 is Wonder Woman 84. I couldn't really. This movie wasn't for me. I mean, I liked the first one, but this one just, I don't know. It didn't feel too good to watch. Like the CGI was weird. I thought the story was weird, and like I think it's only higher than Justice League because, well, I like Pedro Pascal, and then I liked. I don't know. I'm a sucker for like their little romance, Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's, because I liked it so much in the first one.
Okay.
So seeing them come back and then her having to say goodbye, I'm still like, damn, that kind of sucks. But I didn't really like most of it, like CGI. I didn't like that they kind of shoehorned in Cheetah. I feel like she could have been her own villain,
Yeah.
But she was just like a side villain to me. I don't know why they put her in there, but like I don't know. But I like that this one was like a little more colorful and stuff. I think it just deserves number 11 for those things. I don't know.
Well, my number 11, I'm right with you. Wonder Woman 84 has to be the second. I could say and take a straight jab at the whole consent thing that everybody was, picking at, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is that though it was colorful, it was not the Wonder Woman I was expecting. Yeah. She was, you get to a point where you're like, well, he was, you were in love with him for so long. Steve Trevor, obviously, you were in love with him for so long, but at this point, and we can't even like get into the plot holes because supposedly she was hiding for like 20 years, but yet she was still fighting crime in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of plot holes, and that whole thing with Steve Trevor bringing him back. I honestly thought it was a stupid idea to even have brought him back. Pedro Pascal was a shining star in that movie. CGI was wonky. That was really bad. Cheetah was, I honestly don't think Cheetah should have been there in the first place. I mean, I think set her up, yes, but don't, like, they should have teased her.
Yeah, she could have been a third movie villain.
Yeah.
And then we could have really seen them go at it. Like, there was no need to put her in there.
That armor.
Yeah, no, it was weird.
That gold armor really had me baffled as well. There was a lot of things within this movie that just didn't sit right with me, and there was a bunch of plot holes, which I know it has to do with the fact that they were, kicking out Zack Snyder and his vision and trying to move on to their different thing, but they should have made it more clear before doing stuff like that, because at that point you're just confusing audiences, and people that have been invested in these movies, you're confusing them as well, and it's not fair. So I mean, I feel like 11th place is fitting for this movie.
It's it isn't the worst because we established what the worst is, but there's not much redeeming this movie to make it any higher, and like the tonal change too, like the first one, you get a good war story out of it, and Wonder Woman is doing her thing, and this one she feels kind of like how they were saying, how you were just saying, like Justice League Superman feels,
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird tonal change.
Yeah, it's a different movie. I mean, I heard some people say that it's good, but honestly, I mean, audience score don't lie. It did do. Let me double check it real quick. It did get a 73, so there is people out there that like it.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, it just couldn't reach that mark. And then when you get a movie like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, and then get 98 and it just drops significantly from that first part, it's gonna be a dud. It's gonna be a dud. You can't go from maybe you can go down a little bit in quality, but if you go down too much, people are just gonna look at it and be like, well, they didn't even try.
Yeah,
they didn't even try.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
So with that, what is your final decision? What's your number on this one?
I give this one a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slightly higher than, I mean, obviously a better number than Justice League got, but like, again, like, I could rewatch this movie, you know, it's fine. It's like, I'll still be like, oh, the CGI looks dumb here and whatnot, but like, I think I can have a fun time with this movie. It's just like, in the back of your head, you'll be like, damn, that looks weird. Why was she here? You know, the plot holes will get to you, obviously, but yeah, 4. Solid 4.
Yeah. For me, I had to give this one a 4 as well. Didn't do much better than Justice League. It kind of, to me, it was on par. It felt like a botched mess. It felt like, you know, pacing had its issues. Editing was kind of weird. Chris Pine coming back was just not the move, in my opinion. If she was really trying to pitch a Wonder Woman 3 with Steve Trevor, bro, like, a good thing they took this franchise away from her because it's ridiculous. I did like Linda Carter at the end. It kind of was like, oh shit, like we're gonna do something. They were setting up something big with it. Like I said, not a lot of redeeming qualities, but the color was better. I did like the bright colors, and I did like that more. How do you say? More happier feeling. It's good because, you know, you've seen Zack Snyder's movies and it's kind of dark and everything. So for them to go from a dark movie to a light movie, like, I feel like the DCU would have benefited from this. I feel like they would have benefited from telling those darker stories with those darker tones in certain movies, but then also being able to have that tonal shift and be like, okay, well, this one's more lighthearted and a little bit more funnier, a little bit more, you know. I think it would have benefited from it, and I think this movie would have been done well or would have done better if executed better.
Yeah,
it's just the way they, like I said, I'm gonna say it again, Steve Trevor, the way they brought him back in, and Pedro Pascal and Cheetah being overcramped, it's like, no, they botched it.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have.
It was just so weird.
Yeah, but I give it a 4. You give it a 4. It seems like we're on a you know, the same playing field. Right. Yep. All right. So with that, let's move on to number 10. What is your number 10 pick?
My number 10th pick is Birds of Prey. This movie, I mean, again, this one was fun and stuff. I did kind of, like, you know, enjoy it, but, like, again, this one just feels very different from, you know, what we did see in the first one, obviously. Like, we get a Birds of Prey team that isn't really the Birds of Prey, you know what I mean? We get a young Cassandra Cain. I don't know where the hell she came from. We get Black Canary, who's supposed to be getting her own solo thing whenever that happens.
Probably not gonna happen anymore.
Yeah, no. And I forgot who else showed up in that movie. I think the only shining light that saves it from saving it from 11th place, probably Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor. Yeah. Black Mask. Like, his performance was, like, really well. Like, and as botched as that movie kind of was, like, I can still enjoy this movie for him and be like, yeah, no. And then, like, Harley, everyone likes Harley Quinn, you know. Everyone likes Margot Robbie. Like, she does really great as Harley. So I think it's just those two factors that I think kind of saved it for me. But this movie was colorful and everything else, you know. Really, this was one of those movies where you could tell they were really trying to stray from Zack Snyder's thing. But yeah, I don't know. Just that's my 10th. It's, I mean, nothing really too bad to say about it because it could always be worse. But, like, I think this one and deciding this one and obviously 184 it was tough. But I think I enjoy this one just a little better because of Harley and, you know, Black Mask.
Yeah,
they did really well.
We're on the same spot because my 10th is also Birds of Prey. the fabulous misconception. I don't emancipation of I don't know. They changed the name when it came out in theaters to make it less confusing or whatever. So that was confusing in itself. But this movie, I give it the 10th spot because it was good. It was a good movie, and I honestly I thank Kathy Yan for her vision with like Harley and doing those because it plays a role later on in Suicide Squad when in that one hallway scene, like you can tell, and it shows Harley's wicked mind. But the problem is that I feel like Margot Robbie was not playing Harley Quinn in that movie. I don't think she was very Harley Quinn-y like she was in the Suicide Squad or the first Suicide Squad. You know, she did do a good performance. I'm not saying that she didn't, but it didn't hit like Harley Quinn usually does. And maybe that's because of the whole emancipation thing and her trying to be more of her own woman and stuff like that, which I get, but that's not the Harley Quinn that I was wanting to see when I seen this movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ewan McGregor did knock the ball out the park. He was menacing. He was a threat throughout the whole movie. Harley Quinn herself was a threat. I did like what's her name, Elizabeth Winston. She was really good in that movie. I love her in all kinds of movies. Even when she came out in like Scott Pilgrim, like she's a really good actress. And to put her in like this DCU movie, it really added points for me. Overall, with this movie, for me at least, I got to give it a 5. It was good, but it wowed me at some points, but it didn't really like. For me, it didn't really do anything for the story or the DCU moving forward. That's besides, emancipation for Harley Quinn, which, to be honest, I kind of feel like they did it a little too soon. I mean, I don't know if we would have gotten a couple more movies with the Joker, but, they're trying to push out Jared Leto's Joker as well and not make him canon. Isn't that right? But... but this movie, solid 5. It wasn't the worst, it wasn't the best, but it's a good watchable movie, and I can watch it again.
That's right. It's enjoyable to a certain point, and I think a lot of these movies you'll find out over the list. I think they're just enjoyable. Like a lot of them aren't pushing the story forward, but I think there are a lot of like action flicks that you can just turn on and be like,
Yeah.
But yeah,
of course.
I give this one like a 5. Solid 5 too. There's just nothing too much wrong with it. Nothing too good with it either. It's an average movie. So.
And just the direction that they went with Harley Quinn should have. If they were planning to do something like that, great, but at least show that struggle of her leaving him, and But for them to just be like, oh, she broke up with him off screen, it was just it didn't do it for me.
Yeah, because like even in the comics, I know I'm going on a little tangent, but even in the comics, like when she breaks up with him, she brutally beats his ass. You know what I mean? Like if we would have seen that, I would have had no problem.
Yeah.
She declares that it's over, and then she like literally beats the shit out of him. It's the craziest shit. But I don't know. I feel this movie could have benefited from something like that, not just an off screen. Oh hey, yeah, they broke up. She blew up Arkham Asylum or whatever.
Yeah, and I think as we go down this list, you'll notice as the ones that are more at the bottom, I kind of feel had the most studio interference with WB and them trying to move from, the vision that was first set in, in the beginning when Man of Steel first came out. And I think it really hurts them. This is not as being Zack Snyder fans or being Snyderverse, whatever. It's true. All these movies were hurt because they couldn't follow a singular vision like they wanted to. Yeah. And a lot of the like you said, if you watch these movies by themselves, they're good flicks. Yeah. They're pretty good. But as an whole overall arcing story and trying to piece it together, it's not doing too well.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the reason why these movies hurt. If we want to do them on their own merits, I mean, we could probably do that. If you guys want to see reviews of certain movies of the DCU specifically, go ahead and leave us a comment on FilmBros podcast, and we'll do those as well. But they would have benefited individually a lot better, but because we got to take into account as the overarching story and the whole DCU, it hurts. It hurts them.
Yeah, no, it does hurt them, and like again, on its own, I'm sure this movie can just stand, but like in the overarch of things and how this list is gonna just gradually get, to our tops. This one just has to fall, 10th place. Unfortunately.
But you gave it a 5. I gave it a 5. It's mid. It's a good movie. Just not the movie we're expecting. Yeah. But with that, let's move on to number 9. What is your number 9 pick? Damn, I feel like this is where he's going to get a little bumpy now.
Yeah. My number 9th pick, The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad?
James Gunn Suicide Squad.
James Gunn Suicide
Yeah.
Squad?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, go. I need to hear.
Okay. So ever since this movie came out,
Yeah.
I have been very conflicted with it. And it's not even like a James Gunn thing. Like the movie itself,
It's totally a James Gunn
no,
thing.
it's not. No, because I can totally shit on the Guardians and be like, all right, now it's a James Gunn thing. But this one tries, it does have elements I did like, which saves it from being worse than the other ones. Like I did like King Shark. Star was fine, certain things. What I can agree with is killing off characters in the Suicide Squad. And I can hear it now, oh, they're in the group called Suicide Squad. And I can tell you right now, in the comics, it's not that easy. It's not that easy that they blow off people's heads and whatnot. It's not that easy. Even if they are called the Suicide Squad, a good chunk of them make it back. The point is to not die.
Well, the thing about that movie, and I give it to you, is that they were, and this is where it's going to hurt them, is that they were doing exactly that. They were trying to stray from the original vision that happened. So what's the best way to do that? Get rid of the characters that really didn't do much in the first one.
Yeah, and I did like King Shark and Starro. What I don't really like, I don't really like Peacemaker. I'll say it right out of the gate. I don't really like his character. John Cena does fine, and I'll give him chops for like acting that role. But I just can't. I can't vibe with the character. Rick Flag was another good standing point for me. He did really good in this one. His character actually did feel more fleshed out and stuff. So seeing him kind of die was kind of like another like fuck. They're getting rid of everyone, what I mean? They just couldn't get rid of him soon because then they'd be like, oh, you're getting rid of everybody, So they kind of like gave us hope and then they killed him.
Yeah.
I don't really, Bloodsport for me, it's a real double-edged sword for me. Like I like Idris Elba as an actor. He did really like good with what he has. But I just felt his story was too similar to Deadshot's.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I mean, at one point, I think they said Idris Elba was supposed to replace Will Smith at Deadshot, and then they were like, no, there's too much uproar. We don't want to do that, and they just made him Bloodsport.
Like I don't know. They should have worked something out with Will Smith and just brought him back because I mean, like I would have preferred seeing Deadshot do something else.
And one thing I want to point out, like he was in the movie, Idris Elba was like, when he goes to Peacemaker, he was like. And I just did a rewatch of this movie, so it's really funny to me. He goes, "Oh, a Peacemaker, he does exactly what I do," and it was like, "Well, Deadshot does exactly what you do too," So I think DC just got a problem with how many people do the same exact shit.
Yeah. So like I don't really like him. It's like I'm very torn, half and half. Ratcatcher was cool. I liked her story. She was nice. I loved.
Did you not love seeing Taika Waititi as her father?
Hell no. What do you call it? We got a different version of the Thinker for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
We got Polka Dot Man for some reason. I didn't really like his character. I found him kind of annoying.
I thought he was funny.
Like when it was like, that's your mom, and then he dies. I was like, really?
Oh, like, pretty bad,
come on, bro.
That was funny.
I was just like, bro. Harley, another good. She stands out.
You're too serious. Harley did stand out in this one.
Damn. For this one, I didn't really like what they did with Amanda Waller. They kind of made it feel like she wasn't as menacing as she was in the first one, or even in like Black Adam when she shows up. She didn't feel that seriousness, and then they were able to knock her out, and then she just get up like nothing happened.
No repercussions.
Well,
they threw him into a TV show.
Well, yeah, they threw him into a spin-off series, but again, she wouldn't do that. She'd fucking fire him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would think because
the hammer would have been much harder on them.
Yeah, because in the first Suicide Squad, she literally obliterated her whole team because it was classified. So yeah, I gotta see you on that one.
So like she just obviously felt way more different, and like this one is just conflicting ideals because I could totally be like, yeah, it's James Gunn thing, and they're pushing out the DC, but like story wise, it just doesn't do it for me. No, I don't know.
Damn. Can't be more wrong. But I'll give you your opinion. That one, this is our number 8, correct? Our number 8. So my number, it's our number 9 actually. So my number 9 has to be Suicide Squad. Not the Suicide Squad. David Ayers. David Ayers Suicide Squad. Now, the reason why I say that one, and that I thought you would like, I thought you were gonna give James Gunn a little bit higher on this one, but
no.
The reason why I say David Ayer Suicide Squad is because it was another botched mess from Warner Brothers. Unfortunately, we did not get the full fleshed out story, and especially from what we've seen from David Ayer online and everything, it just shows you how different this movie was.
How robbed he was.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I love the villain, the girl that plays Carol or Everline, or I forgot what her. Yeah, Enchantress. Yeah, I forgot her real like actress name. But I did like her in that movie. Even though the CGI was kind of weird, and Joel Kinnaman was really good in that one. Rick Flag, and it just seemed like it just suffered from that botchness from Justice League. The same thing. Like you can tell things were taken out. You can tell the Joker wasn't, a prominent figure like he was in the trailers. His presence was there, but it wasn't really felt. It kind of felt like he was just there just to be there, just to be like, oh, Joker and Harley in the same movie. Yeah. The soundtrack was stupid. The music was so dumb, and it like you couldn't sit there. We'll do a rewatch of this movie maybe later, but you can't sit there for a few minutes without a new song coming up that had totally nothing to do with, because music's supposed to be playing when you feel something, and it just seemed like they threw music in there just to make it more fun and pop and whatever and blah blah blah, and that was really distracting throughout the movie. The ending itself was kind of, man, I wish we would have seen a little bit more Batfleck. I did like the interconnectiveness because I kind of feel like this movie did help with that. Batfleck in there, Ezra Miller was in there for like a brief moment. It seemed like there was so much going good, but because of the what happened behind the scenes, it just seemed like it didn't hit us hard. And so that's why I got to put it at my 9th. It just didn't do what I wanted it to do. And as much as, even though it connected with the original vision, it still felt separated. And that's something that I just couldn't get over.
Okay. I got nothing. Because, I mean, not trying to spoil or nothing. But for me, I gave James Gunn Suicide Squad like a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
I give this one a 5, actually. Suicide Squad's a 5.
Okay.
How dare you? I'm telling you, you're just being a James Gunn hater at this point. I think, listen here, DC Studios. All right?
Got a real bane on your hands.
Yeah, I swear. I just feel like I just feel James Gunn's name's attached to it, and he didn't like it. But that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, the Suicide Squad, I got to give it a 5. Or Suicide Squad, I got to give it a 5 because as great when it could be great, like when Captain Boomerang's head got blown up, like, yeah, it was really cool to see, and it was like, oh shit, what the fuck? But we didn't see him enough to even think like, oh damn, like feel something. It was just another guy that was disposable, kind of like in the Suicide Squad when they killed off a whole team just because it was just to be disposable, and it though. I see where they were going for. If they would have gave it a little bit more backstory and everything, it would have hit a little bit harder. And not to jump the gun, but that's why in the Suicide Squad, I kind of felt like with Captain Boomerang and everything when they died, it hit a little bit more because we had those characters before and they grew on us and he took them away. Yeah, you could be like, oh, I hate him because he took it away from us. Or you can be like, well, for the movie, they built up a relationship with us and then he took it away to be like, for... what's it called? Shock effect. You know what I mean? So, I mean, depending on which way you want to see it.
I'm looking at it the way that he robbed me. He died dumb. That's my big thing. They killed him off stupidly.
They did kill him off stupidly. There was a lot of stupidity in that beginning thing. But like I said,
bro, Pete Davidson, are you serious? Like, come on. Before I get...
Pete Davidson wasn't even that bad. Look, I just think you're just hating at this point. Just you're mad at it. But, I mean, if you're very passionate about it, then you have to have your reasons for it. No. And
it's not working out.
Yeah, no.
Number 8.
We're not fighting on camera for you guys, okay?
Number 8.
We're moving on. Number 8. Okay, number 8. So what's your number 8?
David Ayer, Suicide Squad.
Oh, what? Back to back. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I like this one more, and because of studio interference, it does get this low number. but I do enjoy it on itself. You get menacing Amanda Waller. Everything that I think James Gunn's Suicide Squad was missing, I get here. You know, like, while I did give some praise to it, I think I just liked Rick Flag. I liked Enchantress, Harley, Deadshot. Again, I just established I think I prefer Will Smith's Deadshot over Bloodsport. Like I know his cast was like silly and wacky and full of characters that have been on the Suicide Squad. This one felt like a good core team that could have went the distance and then kind of like Justice League evolve into what James Gunn's Suicide Squad would have been.
Okay.
I obviously liked Harley. I know I'm gonna get shit for this, but I enjoyed Jared Leto's Joker for what it was. I know he could have been more in David Ayer's real cut or whatever. And like that's the real controversial thing. Like I think he does fine as Joker. Like not enough to wow me, but not enough to feel bad in his performance either.
I think Jared Leto did great. I just think if we would have seen him a little bit more, he would have been appreciated a little bit more.
Exactly. So like I liked him. I just like this movie for what it is, and while it is kind of choppy here and there, you notice it right off the gate. Again, you said the music was bad. Like a lot of the music though, you can tell they paid a lot of money for who was in it. Like they got Panic at the Disco, they got 21 Pilots, they got Logic, Lil Wayne. You know, like so I think they were trying to use it to the best of their advantage because they paid for it. You know?
Exactly.
So like I just think I can rewatch this movie, you know, and just while it is a mess, I can still enjoy it. I like real quick to the thing, you know. I give this one like a 5. Like
5?
Yeah.
And same thing with me. I gave it a 5 on the last ranking. Like I said, it's not a terrible movie, but it's just, you know, it suffered from everything that was happening. And like I did like Jared Leto's Joker. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think he was the greatest of all time, but he was really good for the amount of time that he was there. But with that, I'm gonna give you my number 8. You're gonna hate me.
But is it Black Adam?
It's Black Adam. My number 8 is Black Adam. We watched it. We actually rewatched it the other day, right? Yeah, it's Black Adam. So we watched it the other day, right? And it just solidified the fact of how not good that movie. Like, okay, it's not the worst movie in the DCU, but it's not the best movie either. And this one is another smack mid for me because Dwayne Johnson, flat throughout the movie. Like, he doesn't even try to give a performance. Tell him the Man in Black City. Tell him the Man in Black. Like, it's like, okay, we get the trope. A lot of different tropes throughout the movie that I told you I was going to point out, but it was the first time rewatching it, so I kind of just wanted to let you sit and watch it on your own, see if you can see what I was seeing the first time. Next time I'm going to nitpick it. I'm going to let you see. But it's just these tropes that they took from different movies, and honestly, if they would have made it a buddy movie with Aldrich Hodge, Hawkman, and Dr. Fate, I would have loved it a lot better because that little dynamic that they had at the end, even when he sacrificed himself and everything, like, you felt it. Just a little bit, but you felt it, you know? And so with The Rock, I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, he killed and, fucking, I'm a bad guy and I kill people, but you killed the bad guys. You killed the bad guys. You were playing on this hero, and I don't play like anybody else's rules because I got his arm, you see, and look, it's on the floor. Look, zap. But like, no, man. Like it didn't seem. And that little kid, man. So watching it a second time, it really shows me how that little kid annoyed the shit out of me throughout that whole movie. And it was just why they put him in there was ridiculous. I did like the big dude with the glasses. He was really funny when he was like, so I'm gonna die. He's like, just stay away from electricity. He's like, but I'm an electrician. And then he goes into battle. He's like, I'm not dying today. I die by electricity. Like, bro, you think you're invincible now? Like, okay, so there was some funny things, but there was some really, really, really not great things in that movie. It was just really like whatever. And then for them to try to set up this whole plot twist that they gave away in the trailer in the first place, I told you this the first time we seen it. They gave away the plot twist at the beginning. when they were marketing for this movie, and then for them to even go ahead and put The Rock's face side profile and try to be like, "Oh, it's sneaky. You don't know who he is." It's clearly The Rock's head CGI on a tiny person's body. That's like trying to be like putting Captain America's head on the in the first Captain America movie and be like, "Ooh, who's that little scrawny kid from the side profile?" You know what I mean? Like it didn't work for me. But was it a decent movie? Can I get the popcorn flick and watch it and be like, oh wow, like this is actually somewhat entertaining? I think DC has a lot of those movies, like just sit down, one off, boom. Superman coming back was a little good taste at the very end, but it was just a taste, and we're gonna get dehydrated from that taste because we're never gonna get it again. But overall, with this one, at least, I gotta give it a 5. It was, like I said, it was right there in the middle. It wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie either.
Yeah.
And it was something that, I told you, I could rewatch it again. I would be down to rewatch it with you again or something, just so we can sit and just nitpick it and just laugh about it or whatever. If you want to take it serious, take it serious. But it's a decent movie.
Yeah, no, you're gonna be mad where I put this one on my list.
Yeah, I know. I already know.
I don't know. Well, I'll save my pieces for.
Well, can you at least see where I'm coming from? Can you at least understand what I'm telling you?
A lot of those things that you nitpicked about it, I share the same thing. Like, I don't really like the kid. I'm not gonna try and save face like that. Like, he's a poor man's Freddie Freeman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he is.
Shit. Okay.
Like he is. Like he's like, oh, like Freddie Freeman. We know he's into the superheroes and stuff, and he's Shazam's buddy.
Yeah.
He's trying to befriend the hero of conduct.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like that little connection where he's also like just a Egyptian Freddie Freeman. Like it doesn't work for me. I find him kind of annoying too. Like you can throw his character away and that's it.
Yeah. But
I know he's probably gonna end up being. Well, if they do the sequel, he's probably gonna end up being his kid or something like that. But I can see where you're coming from. I did enjoy Fate and Hawkman too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it.
Okay.
Your number for it though?
I gotta give it a 5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's right there in the middle as well. It's like it doesn't really do too much, but it does enough to make me be like, yeah, it's I'll rewatch it.
Yeah. But
with that, let's move on to number 7. What is your number 7?
My number 7 is Shazam.
Okay.
This one's fun. Obviously it leagues better than the rest of them. I think a real decent action movie. Again, you said DC's full of them. This is one of them. No real idea where it lands story wise in the overarching story. We don't even know if he's supposed to be part of the Justice League or not. We just know he runs around, does his own thing, protects Philadelphia. The origin story is fine. I did like the Wizard. You get a slight connection to Black Adam. The bad guy, I forgot his name. It's been a minute since I've seen this movie. The bad guy's that's really cool. He's really menacing. The deadly sins really show up and show out, because that whole scene when they're in the office room, and then like he has them like kill everyone in it and then throws his dad out the window, like that scene feels so, like, it was good, but it felt so disconnected from the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
So, and like, I think it just really solidified that he's a very serious dude, Again, I think this one just got 7th because you don't know where it lands story wise. The tone is kind of happy and whatnot, real shift change from what they were trying to look for in the DCEU. What I didn't really enjoy was the fact that they brought in the Shazam family too soon. Like I didn't really like that they gave everyone their powers so quickly. Like, I feel like that should have been a build up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right at the end of the movie, he's like, "Oh, just say it with me," and give them their powers and stuff. But like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, if they would have gone the route and gave Miss Marvel her little powers, cool. Because then at least I'd get it. She's also worthy and stuff in the comics and whatnot, and I know she's probably gonna be a bigger role in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But like those two alone would have been fine. Like, but for him to give it all to his family, I didn't really enjoy that. Because then it made me raise the question before Black Adam came out. I remember telling you that, like, how are they supposed to go up against him? You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be punching around little kids, you know?
Yeah,
Like
to see Zachary Levi's Shazam go up against The Rock, it just didn't seem right.
yeah, no,
right?
it would be a little weird because he's supposed to be this big threat, and again, he did like. I'm not saying there's a point to him saying like, "Oh, I'm playing with the big leagues only," but I can kind of get it because like the family, you can tell they're still young and whatnot. They're like little kids with superpowers. At least with Shazam and Billy, you understand that he grows and he's the main character and he's gonna benefit a lot more from fighting Shazam fighting Black Adam. Sorry, than the rest of the family is because they're side characters.
Yeah,
like, you can give them some development to them, but they're not gonna grow much.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think this one just kind of falls. Not before top 5, but still, back side of the bus. Like, nothing really happens, but it's a fun movie. I can rewatch it whenever. I can't wait for the second one. I don't know why. I think that's another thing. I don't know why they kind of set up that worm. Damn, I forget what his name is, but he's like also like a bad guy. They set him up to talk to what's his name, the other bad guy, and then it kind of looked like they were gonna team up or something for a sequel, but they went a whole different route. And like Fury of the Gods, it looks like
they're going with different villains. Yeah. Probably something that they were planning, but just didn't pan out for the next one. I'm not sure, but Shazam was a good movie. The first one was actually a lot better than what I actually thought it was gonna be when I seen the trailer, for sure. Because I was like, are you fucking serious? They're throwing away Zack Snyder shit for this? Like, I was really like, what the fuck? We're not even gonna go down the road. But Shazam was a pretty good installment. But with that, what's your number for Shazam?
Shazam 5. A lot of these movies are just kind of like, right down the middle.
Okay.
Like, you can enjoy them, sit down and watch them because they're one-off movies.
Yeah.
But like 5, it does fine.
I mean, I wouldn't give it a 5, but I see where you're coming from. It does make sense. But for my number 7, right? Correct. For my number 7th, I got to give it to Aquaman.
Okay.
I know it's one of the better movies. I know it's the one that made $1 billion. But to be honest, now that we got Zack Snyder's Justice League, it kind of gives a little bit more context to where Aquaman went in the next movie. But from Justice League to that movie, when it came out originally, it left me confused because, they gave us a backstory. It was really good. And this is funny to me because you know how Black Adam was like, oh, well, heroes don't kill or whatever. Aquaman literally lets this man drown in a submarine in the beginning of the movie. So I was like, heroes don't kill. They do it every Tuesday. What are you talking about? So that movie, Aquaman itself is pretty crazy. It's good, but it wasn't something that I was wanting, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't really wanting to want to watch Aquaman or see all that stuff. James Wan did do a fucking magnificent job with the camera work. Those one shots, the one in the beginning when the mom was fighting all those guys trying to return her back to Atlantis and everything, like that one shot of everything, killer, bro. Like, he knows how to do camera work. CGI in that movie was kind of weird because of the water and stuff like that, the hair and everything. So it was kind of distracting at times. Black Manta was a menace in that movie. I loved him in that movie. Like I said, what's his name? Abdul Mahin the third. Like, he's really, like, I say to this day, and I will always say, like, he is a great actor, a phenomenal actor, and he puts, even though he did say it's clown work, all right, fucking asshole, like, he does put a good effort into that role and into his roles. So Aquaman was a good installment. Even like, even if you don't watch the other movies and want to watch it as a one-off, like, it does do something for you.
Yeah.
With that, I gotta give it like a 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
I gotta give it like a 7. It's a solid movie. It's good. It's a little bit better than just the mid movie for me because they did do a little bit extra with it. That emotional layer that they peeled back between Arthur and his mother, and with Mira in there as well. Like, it was a good movie. I will say I wasn't excited going into it, but watching it sitting down, like, I could rewatch it a few times, and I have rewatched it a few times, and Aquaman's a solid entry. So with that, I gotta give it a 7. It's solid. It does have a couple things where I'm like, I really don't care for it, but it was a good movie. Yeah, it was cool.
Well, I guess we're moving on then. No,
you don't have anything to say about Aquaman?
No. this one's my next slot.
You agree with me then? All right. Okay, so number 6 then is
Number
Aquaman?
6, Aquaman. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like this one. This one and 5 were kind of fighting for top spot. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this one. The camera work again, really good. I really like the action scenes. I really like the one takes. Like something about seeing all that camera work. It made me feel so good. Like, and then Black Manta, he's a menace. Probably the first menace we've seen since after Justice League, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or not even. Yeah. So like it does really good. You see Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He does his thing.
Boba Fett.
Not Boba Fett, but the actor. What's his name?
Yeah, Tamara Morrison.
Yeah, Tamara Morrison. This movie just, I don't know. I just really like it. I liked it a lot better than Shazam because Shazam didn't really have any of those flair qualities. This one has a lot of like framework, camera work, action, and then the scarier elements would be like damn, what are those creatures called when they get into that part of the ocean?
Oh yeah, those monsters. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we get to see that big ass monster that they were talking about, the one that he was riding on. Or whatever.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, and then you get to see that he was worthy, or I say worthy like Thor, but like he was worthy to wield.
It's basically Thor underwater.
To be king of the oceans and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets his place on the throne. Like this movie, like the origin is all the same. They did animate something like this one, and it's a lot of just him finding his place in Atlantis and the world dwellers, whatever they call them. Just a really good movie. A lot better than what I was expecting, but I think this one and 5 can be interchangeable depending on how I feel about them.
Okay.
But I give this one 7.
7?
7, almost 8, like around there, 7.5.
Okay. Well, this one, I mean, I know you say, because we're on 6, right? So I know you say 6 and 5. Well, 6 and 7 for me could be interchangeable. This one, for number 6 for me is Shazam. Aquaman and Shazam kind of go hand in hand. They both have that emotional element. Shazam really had that emotion between, Billy Batson trying to figure out, what's his place, where's his mom, losing her. Having that emotional moment in the hallway with her really put that movie over the top for me. There's not a lot, and I wish they would have saved the kids for a little bit later, but I did like the gruesome kills that were in that movie with the demons that were coming out, and that one scene when they're in that one room, all the business people, and they were just getting ate up and shit. I was insane to actually see in a DCEU movie where you're like, you come from a Marvel movie, you're like, that shit never is gonna happen in a fucking movie, and then you go to a DC movie and they're like I said, they're like, fuck your kids, bro, we're gonna eat people.
Exactly.
Like, they don't really care. I thought it was a good movie. The fight scenes were actually really solid in that one too. Yeah, they didn't do any spectacular with the camera work or anything in this one, but I think that emotional depth that they carried with Billy throughout the whole movie, it made him basically resulted, and Zachary Levi being that that funny, like, comic relief and everything as being Shazam was great as well. So it was I kind of felt like Aquaman and this one had a little hand in hand. I am giving it a 7 as well. I don't think it's better than Aquaman, but I do think that there's a little bit more that you can see with this one, with Shazam, that kind of makes you be like, oh, well, it's a little bit superior movie. Yeah. The only reason why I gotta put James Wan back one, like Aquaman at least, because, like I said, I never wanted to go to Atlantis. I didn't care. I didn't care for Aquaman, and I didn't care to even, watch the movie. But it did wow me, so I will put it a little high where it respectively needs to go. But Shazam kind of did it for me a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I can see it. Like, again, this one, Black Adam, Aquaman, like they're just action flicks that you can just sit down and watch. So, like wherever you put them in line, like, you could change them. Yeah. Because, it could just happen on a whim. Like, one day you could be just rewatching the movies and be like, oh, no, I think I like this one better than this one and that one,
Yeah, I feel like them two are kind of neck and neck. I kind of, 100%. But they did do, like, it's just crazy. Like, you can watch these movies as a one-off and just be like, hey, like, this is a good action flick. But as an overall story, to have to put that into, it suffers. You got to put it into consideration. It does hurt. Even that Superman cameo at the very end of the Shazam too, like, that shit was just
Terrible.
stupid, dumb. Like, it was ridiculous. And I read into the backstory of all that stuff, and it's stupid to me. But with that, we're gonna wrap that part up. And before we move on to our top five, is there anything that you have to say about my ranking so far?
No, not really. I can understand most of it. I know you want to say something to me about Suicide Squad, though, or the Suicide Squad.
100%. That, and also hearing that Black Adam's not even is above the top 5 it got me a little bit worried on how the ranking. The Suicide Squad, though, I think you did put it a little too low. I do believe it should be a little bit higher. I might be your personal feelings in the mix of this one, but Suicide Squad, I kind of feel like it performed a little bit better than what you're saying it is. Well, but I mean, it does have its drawbacks, though.
Yeah, 100%. That's like it does, and like it's not like if I could just be like, okay, take James Gunn's name out of it. I still don't like what I don't like about it. I don't like Bloodsport. I don't like Peacemaker. I'm not vibing with half of the Suicide Squad, and they're the people I'm watching. So like if it isn't Harley, King Shark, Amanda Waller at some points, I'm not really vibing with this movie. I didn't really like Polka Dot Man. I found him kind of annoying. It just.
You didn't like
I don't know.
You didn't like Schmidt.
He's the who is he again?
Oh no, that's not his name. Melvin. You didn't like Melvin?
Who is that? I totally forgot who that is.
You didn't know he was with us the whole time. It's that dude. It was funny. That scene itself just kills me every time I watch it. When he's like, who's Melvin? The driver. He's still with us.
What put me off when I first seen this movie, because I watched it when it pretty much dropped, maybe like a day after the fact, because I was worried about what they do, and then they did it, and my suspicions were correct. So I don't like how they killed off everybody. Like right out the gate. Weasel, he made Weasel so his brother could play him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which I can respect. Bring your brother in, give him some bag.
He actually played 2 roles in that movie.
But really, a weasel, and then he drowns. Come on, bro. And then
he technically survived.
Okay, well and then
Calendar Man.
You
fucking pussy. I was like, dude, why?
Actually, yeah, that was kind of funny. I'm not gonna deny that was funny. He's like, "Where can I book you for my kid's birthday party? You fucking pussy."
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's small things like that. Or in the beginning where he kills them off and they die so dumb. The chick fucking lands on a chopper. The chopper falls. She's swinging on it. She dies. The blades clip.
I will say the whole beginning is a mess.
The way they kill him off, it's so dumb, and I didn't vibe with it. And then once I seen it happen, I was like, well, I am not gonna vibe with this movie.
No, I 100%. I agree with you. I agree with you with some stuff. I'm not gonna say I do respect your position on it, but I don't agree with it 100%. But the one I really don't agree with is Black Adam. But we're gonna go ahead and start cracking our top 5 because I really want to know where you put Black Adam in all this. What is your number 5 slot?
Black Adam.
Okay. So it did crack top 5, but just barely.
That's what I'm saying. This one, Aquaman and Shazam could be fighting for all of it. You know what I mean? So this one on Aquaman, I did say it's tough because what Aquaman has is camera work, and decent story and whatnot. What Black Adam has, I think I just enjoyed quite a bit more. Because while I did I like The Rock in some aspects of it. He might have been very static throughout most of it and stuff, but I think what saves him is his dynamic with the chick. I forget her name.
The love interest.
Mm. Well, I say love interest, but she wasn't really. Well, they weren't really falling in love.
Yeah, but she was supposed to be that girl.
Didn't really like the Freddie Freeman, poor man's Freddie Freeman. I like the dude with the glasses. He was funny. The bad guy was all right. I know the whole plot was to throw Black Adam away, and then it just led up to Sabak. Sabak was cool for a final boss. Mm. Amanda Waller in this one felt like how I said she does,
very menacing,
very menacing. Very like fuck you, listen, get in line type shit.
But I do think that they kind of fucked up by putting hardcore in there and delivering it for it. Because
I was just about to get there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, like her being there kind of just felt weird. Like I don't think she's doing anything other than managing Peacemaker to get her in that role. Because again, if the hammer was any stronger, she would have been fired. You know?
Yeah.
Or even killed at that point. So like it's so weird that she was like a part of that crew, and then she shows up in Black Adam. So like it kind of shows you that she solidified her fucking spot in the movies. I guess.
I felt like with that it would have done a little bit better if Amanda Waller was actually there to, you know, take the prisoner swap and, you know, make that presence. Because for her to just be on screen both times in the movie, and then for Hardcore to come out and be like, oh, I do her dirty work when it's time to, you know what I mean? Yeah, it could probably fit into Brand, but it would have made it more compelling.
It would have been a lot better if she was the one taking Black Adam. Like we did a lot of trouble to get you, boy. Like I'm here to see you get your shit. Personally,
yeah, you know? and that post credit scene would have hit a lot more harder if that would have happened as well. It would have been like, oh well, what the fuck? We just brought you here and now you're back in Kahndaq. All right, well stay there, you know.
Yeah, and so what do you call it?
Oh, sorry.
So, like, I like the action, and what saves this one really well after a rewatch, it might have not been Black Adam himself, but Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and the Atom and what is her name? Cyclone, yes. They save it.
Top 5 don't even know the names, bro. Top 5 don't even know the names.
They get sidetracked a lot, but like they do well for what they're in, and then like they do really well. And then Dr. Fate, I just really liked a lot of his acting, obviously, and then his fight scene with Sabak was also pretty great. And then he dies, and he's the hero in the end because he sacrificed himself, and Hawkman gets to use his helmet and everything like that. It was a cool little like action scene. Top 5, and again, it could be interchangeable with Aquaman at any time.
And what's your rating for it?
After the solid rewatch, it fights. I give it like a 7.5. It fights between 7 and 8, I think, but 7.5.
7.5,
just down the middle.
Yeah, just to get put it there. That's good. My top 5, my number 5. Has to be Wonder Woman.
Really?
Wonder Woman, yes.
Wow.
I loved the movie. It was great. Ares as a villain was pretty good. The plot twist really did get me because I didn't know it was gonna be that the white dude that it wound up being at the end of the movie. I honestly thought it was the general the whole time. This one I kind of felt like it. This is the one where they did the MCU formula where they had a whole movie and then just had to have a big CGI fight at the very end. And it sucks because, I mean, if you know the backstory of this one, and maybe it kind of plays into a factor, but if you know the backstory, it was supposed to end differently. But there was a bunch of, there was reshoots for the third act because they didn't want it to end that way. So they basically did a Marvel handbook and turned it into a big CGI fight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was it you could tell it kind of hurt the movie because it was doing really well. The pacing was great, everything was amazing, and then when it hit that last end, I was just like, damn, like, you know, it was good, but it could have been better in my opinion. Other than that, Gal Gadot did a great job. Chris Pine, the continuity in that movie was great. With the picture that they took. Seeing Ben Affleck in there in the beginning for a brief moment, but you know, it like I said, the connectivity for me makes a big difference, and this movie just had all of it, and it did really well with the actors and everything that, you know, what it had at the moment. And to be honest, I think it's one of the first DCU movies that was actually a success. You know, everybody loved it. You know, box office was great. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. Like, it checked all the boxes. So it did really great for what it was. But for the number, I'm giving it a solid 8. I think it was a good movie. Okay. It was great. It was good. Yeah, the last bit hiccuped. There was not really any pacing issues. The villains were really great. It's just that Ares at the very end that kind of just really hit me for a loop, and really it didn't really sit right with me. And knowing the behind the scenes to it and everything plays a factor in my decision. So, I mean, if you guys never heard of it, then maybe it's higher on your list. Maybe it's lower. Maybe it's probably not playing a factor in there, but I gotta give it a solid 8. Wonder Woman, solid 8. It was good. It was a good movie.
That's cool. I get that. As for like Ares, I think it would have benefited more if he just, after his reveal, he doesn't remain that human. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't remain the British guy. Like he transforms into something else. I think that would have been a lot better. Like he takes his like form or whatever, whether it's burnt to a crisp because he was shot with a lightning bolt or whatever.
Yeah.
Like how he looked in the Injustice video game.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Like, and then his armor looked pretty accurate for the most part, but his face and him being British kind of threw it off.
Yeah,
it's disguise, I guess.
Yeah, because especially the dude that they got as an actor, he's not really a menacing figure. You know what I mean? He's the dude that plays the werewolf in Harry Potter. You know, like he's not really a menacing person. And honestly, in all honesty, like I thought it was gonna end different when watching the movie because after they got the general, I thought Ares was supposed to be a god, but he wasn't gonna come down to Earth or anything because Zeus wasn't there, all that stuff. So it's weird that Ares was still kicking at the time, and for him to just be like, "Well, I couldn't make my plan fruition with influence, so now I'm gonna come down and kick your ass myself." I was like, "Damn, dude!" Like Thanosing it. Fine, I'll do it myself, head ass. So I was like, "Yeah, no." Like I said, it was good, but it was just something that if they would have kept the original ending, it probably would have been better. Maybe it would have suited the movie a little bit more. But for them to just go, "Yeah, you killed the big bad, but here's the boss fight. Here you go." Like it just didn't sit right with me. But solid 8. Wonder Woman was pretty good.
Yeah.
But with that, anything else, or we're moving on to number 4?
Number 4.
All right. What is your number 4? This is where you're getting juicy, brother.
My number 4 is Wonder Woman. Actually.
Oh, okay.
I like this one leagues above Black Adam. This one is really good. Like so much better than the other ones, obviously, because I did put it at number 4, and it's way better than the second one. I like the action, the story. Like I said, I love Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's dynamic in this one. I like that he's the one showing her the ropes and stuff, and then he's the one that brought her into the real world, just like the comics. So it all works out.
Showed her the first penis.
Well, yeah, that too. I just really like this one. The action too. I really enjoyed a lot of the action scenes, like the trench scene where she's walking, blocking all the bullets and stuff, and like being that hope that the world at the time needed.
Yeah.
She led that little battle, and then she celebrates with them, gets into the romance with Steve Trevor. Again, I really liked it. And then they rip your heart out because he has to die. I remember crying when I first seen it.
Yeah, that was really sad. I seen it in theaters too, and I seen him go up there, and I was like, oh. And I thought he was gonna come back, somehow, some way, but. Not the way we were expecting in '84, I'll tell you.
And she couldn't even hear him when he said like his goodbye and all that. So yeah, it made me cry when I seen it. I was like, damn, that sucks. As everything, I just really enjoyed it. I like that this one has Zack Snyder's influence more than the other ones did. This one, it shares the tone, action, and it does have some comedy in it. Mm-hmm. A real nice balance, I guess, because it doesn't feel too funny because it is a war. But it doesn't feel the lack of funny. Yeah, no, of
course. I think it was a well-made movie.
I like the bandits, or the team of bandits, that they bring together. I guess. Mm-hmm. The picture, the interconnectedness. Again, I really enjoyed it. It's one of those things that the earlier DCEU shared before it decided to break away. Mm-hmm. I just think this one is just really good. Like I said, the only complaint is like Ares. I think if he would have just changed forms into been this like muscular dude or something like that, it would have been a lot bigger of a fight. But he was just a normal. It just to me felt like a normal guy with superpowers, because of the actor. I think, and that's where it falls short. He would have been fine if he was the mastermind, I guess, like you said. Yeah. And then they kill him, and then they're like, oh dang, the plan's foiled. But I think War having a very physical body, and pulling the instruments is also a fun idea. It just didn't work out too well because the actor isn't,
Yeah, he doesn't fit that role in my opinion. Like
I give this one like an.
I would have literally gave him that pass if all he was doing was pulling the strings and everything. But yeah, for him to suit up and be like, like I said, Thanos didn't be like, I'm doing it myself. It was kind of out of the woodwork for me. Yeah. But what was your number 4?
8.
An 8?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really
solid.
like this one.
No, same as me. Solid 8 for sure. All right, so my number 4. Yeah, you're gonna hate me. The Suicide Squad. I had to put it top 5. It's one of the better DCU movies in my opinion. Yeah, it had the interconnectedness with the old characters. Harley was there. Yeah, they kind of diverted away from the original Suicide Squad, but honestly, this one is what I told you when it comes down to villains. Like, I want to see villains killing people. If you're a villain in a movie, you need to have no remorse to do that. To do whatever you need to do to handle that problem. You know what I mean? And I think that's where they kind of hurt in Peacemaker. I know like it's not really like, we're not rating that one, but in Peacemaker, John Cena was an evil guy, but like not doing evil shit as he did in the Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. And this one, like, they go into a camp, a refugee camp, and slaughter women and men in the funniest way possible. And it just solidified, Harley Quinn kills that dude just because she thought he was a bad guy. In her head, she was doing right. You know what I mean? So it did a lot of stuff that I would hope in a villain movie that they didn't do in the first Suicide Squad. They, barely did in Black Adam. You know what I mean? So this one, it was... Yeah, it did hurt in the beginning to see all those old characters be gone. And I'm not going to lie to you. I was mad the first time I watched the movie. I was mad. I would have put this... If I would have seen it one time and left it at that, I would have been salty. This movie would have probably been number 11, right after Justice League. And I would have been completely mad. But after watching it a couple times, because I think I watched it like 3 times now, it's actually a decent movie. It's well thought out. It drives the plot forward. It actually has a reason to exist. It pushes a spin-off out, and it could potentially spit out even more movies. Starro as a villain, even though he was just a star, like, I just felt super bad for him too. Like, I was just like, damn, like, he did not want to do any of this. Like, he just wanted to be left alone type shit, It was funny when it was funny. It was sad when it was sad. The music choices was great. I really loved in the movie how, like, when in the beginning when the blood spilled and it went Warner Brothers Presents, and then like how it just did those little signs with certain elements throughout the movie. It was pretty cool. Yeah, this movie was honestly, it wasn't that bad. It had the humor, it had the kills, it had the action. It honestly had everything. And if you see this movie and think James Gunn's gonna do a great job as DCU, like, he needs a lot of tonal changes, in my opinion, if he's gonna tackle the Superman movie, like we've been saying. We've been talking about it on the pod. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on YouTube and Apple and Spotify. So go watch those if you guys want to be caught up with the whole DC drama that's been happening. Is literally our last few pods. But him being the head of DC Studios, he will have to do a whole tonal change and everything. And at least if we can see the range and how far he's willing to go, and if this is where he's willing to go in the bad side, I honestly cannot wait to see where he can go on the good side. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I feel like he did a good footing. There was a couple things in the movie that was like, but like I said, I kind of feel like that has to do with WB leadership and the changing of certain things and what they wanted to keep out and keep in and stuff like that and blah, 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 blah. But all in all, Suicide Squad, I have to give it... I gotta give it an 8. I think it's really good. It's a solid movie. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
No, it isn't. I guess that's fine. You can have your opinion.
No. Dispute. What are you trying to say?
Well, I've already said it, man. I've said it twice now.
Say it one more time.
I just can't get behind this movie. I can't. Even if I wanted to be bitter and be like, take away James Gunn and give it that favor, like, I just don't vibe with it.
How many times have you seen it?
I've seen it once. Because I know when I don't like something, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it.
We got to give it a shot.
No.
We got to give it a shot. Let us know down in the comments, guys. Do you think that he should give the Suicide Squad another shot? Like I said, I think, honestly, coming from your point of view, because I love the original vision that was happening. I love Zack Snyder. I'm telling you, if I would have seen that movie one time, that should be all the way at the bottom. That thing, I would have been salty. I would have been mad the whole time. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be unbiased. I'm gonna give it a second shot. I'm gonna watch it again. I watched it again, and I was like, okay, it's not as bad as the first time. I understand what he was going. The jokes are actually landing this time. And then you watch it a third time, and you're just like, okay, well, it's not that bad. It's like you can't really figure out certain things and plot holes. Like with Black Adam, I was like, the first time I seen it, I was able to be like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. When I first the Suicide Squad the first time, like everything I didn't like I nitpicked everything, and I was like, okay, we can't be nitpicking because that's just gonna be bad. So I watched it again, and it was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. But I think honestly, I think you'd benefit from rewatching it again.
No.
I think you'd benefit, and one of these days I will talk you into it. One of these days, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. 2023. With that, let's move on to our top three. Top three. What is your top three? What is your number third?
My number third is Batman v Superman.
Okay. Theatrical or Ultimate?
Well, okay. Well,
let's just do Ultimate Edition.
Ultimate Edition. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Because
save those 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This one, it isn't. To me, it isn't. I don't see anything wrong with this one. It's because I know I had to put two more ahead of it. Where this one, 3, 2, and 1 can fight for the first spot, I think.
Okay.
They could be interchangeable whenever I feel.
I think I agree with you because I think we're on the same page with everything.
So BVS is a really good movie. I love it so much. It's one of those things where I go back and rewatch. I rewatch this one pretty much just as much as I watch Man of Steel, if not maybe a little less. But it doesn't take away nothing. I rewatch it. I love it. I like Batfleck. I like Superman. I like Lois Lane in this one a lot more. I like the conflict of Superman's character. I like that Batman is trying to, that we see him in a dark place. I like that it sets up Nightmare Batman. I like that it has the Flash, even though he looks kind of Mexican for some reason. I love Lex Luthor. This Lex Luthor, man, like I can tell, like I've told you before, like this Lex Luthor and the Lex Luthor from Superman Returns, like they go right there. And then third place, I give it to the one from Smallville.
Yeah.
But this one, like, is Jesse, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
His Lex Luthor, man, I loved it. I know people will be like, oh, he should have been Riddler. This is not. Like, no, that doesn't work out.
I think he played a great Lex Luthor.
He does really great as Lex Luthor. I know it's probably down the line, but I like that. Was it in Justice League when he shows up and he's like, oh, we should form a league of our own or whatever with Slade? I liked him there. Like, I just really liked his Lex Luthor. He really planned everything out and whatnot. I like Doomsday, even though he's not the official Doomsday. I liked him. I like the Abomination, I guess you can call him.
Yeah.
He does really good. The action, the set piece, Superman's death. While early, I understand why they did it. The world was I'm gonna explain it for y'all. The world was in conflict with his character. They some loved him, some didn't like him. He was controversial. He died. It took him dying to see what they missed about him.
You never know what you have till it's gone.
Exactly. So, while early, I still like that he died, and then it sets way for Zack Snyder's Justice League where Steppenwolf comes in and he's like, no lanterns, no Kryptonians. I'm gonna take Earth, and then it sets up the Justice League or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, this one has zero complaints for me, I think. Yeah, because it's just so good. I can't.
And what number do you give this one?
This one, 8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
Okay, so no complaints, but you put it at 8.5.
Yeah, I have to be fair.
Okay, makes sense. My third is the same. BVS Ultimate Edition, and I'll be honest, it is an 8.5 for me as well. But I'm gonna tell you why I give it an 8.5. Okay. Because as well as it is,
maybe you can articulate it for me.
Yeah, as great as it is, and it's a great movie. It's really good, especially the Ultimate Edition with the extra 30 minutes. Like, you need that context for it. Yeah. But one thing that I did think is that it was overbloated. I do believe that they wanted to build up a cinematic universe, and you could tell Zach kind of wanted to do it in certain increments. And I think he even came out one time and said that Batman versus Superman, it wasn't even supposed to be called that. It was supposed to be called something different to, set it up in a different way. But they wanted it to, for them to have conflict and, that it was going to sell tickets. So he did what he had to do with what the time that he had. Like I said, having to put to me, I thought it was kind of dumb to be like, oh, Lex Luthor just has all these files of all these people. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, well, he has something to set up. So, he has to write it in there some way, somehow.
Yeah.
And if Lex Luthor is doing the research and Batman just stole the information, it kind of makes sense. The Batman killing thing, I didn't have an issue with because it showed that, how far you can fall before you have to bring yourself back up at sometimes. And, the thing about this movie for me is that it connects well with Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's all three, Man of Steel to BVS to Zack Snyder's Justice League. It connects 100% well.
Yeah.
Like if you watch those movies, like there's not a lot missing besides a lot of that Warner Brothers interference in BVS that you can tell happened because they wanted to set up this big universe for themselves. Jesse Eisenberg was a fucking shining star in that movie. Ezra Miller was for the little bit of time that he was there. Aquaman in the little file too. Gal Gadot, she was pretty good in that movie. At the final scene, the final fight when they were fighting Doomsday, that shit was great. It didn't feel like it was just another CGI battle or anything like that. It felt like it was a setup. Like this was supposed to happen. Lex was trying to stop you. I didn't like how they had to keep saying, oh, there's nobody, because in Man of Steel, a lot of the backlash was, oh, Superman killed a lot of people in the city, whatever. So they had to keep saying, no, the lot is empty. There's nobody in the building. Like, if you rewatch it, you'll notice they say it quite a bit where they're like, oh, yeah, it's empty. Oh, there's nobody here. Oh, the harbor is, deserted. Nobody's there, and before they start fighting, just to let people know, like, we're not going to kill anybody. You know what I mean? So that was just kind of my thing. But I do give it an 8.5. But it just with those little, like I said, it just seems like a lot of these issues were Warner Brothers interference and, trying to make the movie that they wanted to make and not letting creators have their creation. But did I articulate it pretty well for you?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I guess it is kind of overloaded. But again, I think for what it is, it does really good.
It does. 100%. The pacing's great. Yeah. Everything works. There's not really, like, even when they're just talking and having those little political ideologies, I'm very interested. Yeah. I'm very interested. And I know a lot of people don't like politics, and that's why they don't really enjoy this movie. But Zach was tasked of putting Superman in the real world, okay? And this is exactly how they would handle a Superman in the real world. They wouldn't just be like, oh, just let him fly. No, government don't care. Yeah, government don't care. No, governments are scared of what they don't know.
They'd want to regulate him. Yeah. They'd want answers for certain things. Kind of like you guys can, like, some people will be like, Civil War does it really well, but this one also has politics and shares politics. It isn't about, they share a similar thing where they should be doing this and that. That's what they want to do with Superman and whatever other metahumans they can do it to. But Superman isn't going to do that. He's going to go where he's needed and do what he has to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I know most people want to say like the beginning, or I guess as of recently, it's been a problem where people think they care about Jimmy Olsen when that isn't the case. They're just looking to
nitpick.
Yeah, nitpick. And that whole beginning scene where he's like, "Oh, Superman killed that guy," you can see right before he grabs him and throws him in a wall, where he turns his back and protects him from the wall.
Exactly.
So like it's dumb nitpicking things like that where you just gotta look at the people and be like, wow, you're just hating at that.
No, the devil's in the details, and that's the thing that people don't want to look at the details. They just want to nitpick and ignore certain things, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. I think Zack Snyder was onto something when he first started, and I think if we would have seen his full vision fruition, I think that's why we're in a bad spot in DC. I feel like we would have seen it happen if you guys would have been patient a little bit, then we would have seen something different. Yeah. But number 2 spot, we're there. What is your number 2? Go ahead.
My number 2 spot is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like I said, this one, BVS, and my first slot can interchange at any time. Or maybe not my first, but second and 3 can change anytime. I really like this one. Obviously, I like that it's more fleshed out. I like that it's Zack Snyder's original cut because that was my whole thing. That was my whole thing when campaigning. Way back when. I know people were like, "Oh, it doesn't exist," but Zack Snyder was like, "It exists. Trust me, it exists." And then like, I just like that his vision came to be outside of the story. In this actual story, I like that it all does its part. I like that Cyborg had a bigger role. I like the Flash scenes, like when he saves Iris. You know, that whole scene. I rewatched that scene a lot just because it's so good. Like,
Yeah.
He's Flash. I don't know what complaints they give him, but I really like the Flash in it. Wonder Woman does her thing. Obviously, Batfleck and Superman. Wow.
Oops.
The Batfleck, Superman coming back. Superman in the black suit. Steppenwolf is a lot better in this one. His design, he's a menace. Whatever. I like that the Amazons or Amazonians, whatever you want to call them, they shine a bit too when trying to protect the mother box. Atlantis, you know, they do their thing in protecting the mother box. Like this movie, it's the pinnacle of Zack Snyder's whole vision that we get to see it. And I know we probably won't get to see the next couple of ones or installments, but for what it is, this one just does it perfectly.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people can make the argument like it's the same movie, it's the same movie, it's the same movie. It is. Why did Warner Brothers do all this debacle and all this shit just for nothing? It is the same movie with elements taken out. I mean, that Barry Allen scene at the very end, why even take out that scene? I can kind of get the one with Iris West or whatever, because, you know, honestly, it didn't play any bigger role in the movie. So I understand why they wanted to cut it out in the first place. Was it cool? Fuck yeah, it was a cool scene. It's just, you know, it didn't add a lot, and I kind of feel like kind of made this movie a little bit bloated that it didn't need it to be, but it was still a solid one for sure. But what do you give the ranking?
9.
9?
It is so good.
All right, so for my number 2 spot, I got to give it to Man of Steel. That was a number 9. But you're right. It's interchangeable. All of them are interchangeable. And the only reason why I put this one is because, I don't want to jump the gun, but the number 1 is my number 1. But my Man of Steel, the only reason why I got to put it second is because though it did give me a great performance as Superman, it gave us a great action sequences, a fucking beautiful fucking Krypton. Zod is fucking crazy in that fucking movie, bro. Fucking menace. Like, that is a villain, okay? Like I said, in the Suicide Squad, those guys were villains. Black Adam was a villain. Zod was a fucking goon. My man's was trying to, like, zap kids and a family right in front of Superman. Was basically like, fucking do something about her. I'm gonna kill them. Like, it was either or. And I know a lot of people give that movie shit because of the whole neck stamping thing. What would you do? What would you do when you had to save this family and all these people? He said he wasn't gonna stop. Either he's gonna die or he was gonna die. So if Henry Cavill would have died, Superman, Zod would have just taken over the world. Exactly. And I was telling you the other day, like, if we would have had a cohesive story and we would have gotten to that point where, like, kind of like what Marvel's doing and hit a what if we had a DCU what if Zod won, bro, no more Earth. No more. Even if we took away the whole incubation and stuff, so, like, babies could be made for Kryptons, still no more Earth. He would have just been pissed off and killed everybody just because he was mad.
Exactly.
So, like, that movie is great. I got to give it a 9, solid 9. It was great. I don't think any DCU movies ever hit that 10 mark for me, but Man of Steel 100% was a great installment, great kickoff to the DCU. And the only reason why I put it second is because, well, the other one has to take the cake for me, and I will tell you why it takes the cake for me. But yeah, you're good. Yeah. You agree? You see?
I can see
but, like, you're right. They can all be interchangeable depending on how you see it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think BVS for me will always stay stuck in third, but I think the two that I have on top are always going to be interchangeable. Okay. But with that, we all know your number 1 is. It has to be Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Why is Man of Steel your number 1?
Because of everything. I rewatched this movie all the fucking time. Constantly. When we just rewatched it for Henry Cavill.
R.I.P.
It's so good. I have no complaints about this one. It's the pacing, the story. Krypton looks fucking great. The Superman, his first outing as Superman. He's hopeful. Don't tell me he isn't. He does his job. Zod, he will always be a menace. Like if we were to rank DC villains, top of the list for sure, because he's so menacing. And again, he establishes right out the gate that all he wants to do is build Krypton on Earth. Superman isn't gonna let him. An immovable object meets an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? So it leads to him pissed. Like, his goal changes. He says, "Fuck Krypton. I'm gonna kill you." And everyone, on Earth, and then Superman is with the dilemma of killing him. He kills him. He immediately regrets it because that's not what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get him, and the sequel happens in BVS. I just have no complaints. It's so good. This one won't be interchangeable. I lied earlier. Second, two and three can fight for it.
Okay.
But this one it holds up everything for me. Even to this day, it's been so long, and I know we won't get a sequel, unfortunately. But I know I can rewatch this one and still feel that great and hopefulness about it. This one's a 10 for me. This one hits 10.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, for me, my number one is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I already went on my tangent about Man of Steel, so I don't want to really discuss it again. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is my number one, and I'm gonna tell you why it's my number one. It's my number one because it has everything that I wanted in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Has Henry Cavill's Superman being Superman. Okay, maybe at the very end, but still, okay. Ben Affleck's Batman, though I loved him in BVS as that gritty, beat up everybody, fucking not giving a fuck. I loved him in this movie. He was, you can see that arc in fruition. From, Henry not knowing where to go in his life, or where he belongs in this world. And him having to die and come back in order to be like, well, they need me, is a beautiful. Oh, if nothing does it for you for this movie, that one scene when Steppenwolf's about to axe down Cyborg, and Superman just comes down, takes the axe to the fucking shoulder, bro, and is just basically like, not impressed.
Exactly.
And it just goes on and fucking obliterates this guy. Like, it's just ridiculous. Cyborg being in there, having a full fleshed out story was amazing.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller having that moment, the Flash having that moment at the very end. Even, like I said, I told you, that scene wasn't necessary in that movie with Iris West, but it's good that they added it because, she was going to play a character in the Flash movie and stuff. And it's good that, obviously he wanted his full vision. Do I feel like this movie could have benefited by a smaller runtime? Kind of. Because there was like I said, there was a couple scenes that could have been maybe condensed, cut down a little bit or whatever, and didn't really need to be in there. But I understand he committed to making his full vision, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with it. The ending with the nightmare having Jared Leto's Joker and Batfleck exchanging words, bro, that shit is iconic. If that doesn't make you want to see a Batfleck movie, I don't know what the fuck does.
I don't know, man. That shit was just good. I can see why it's your first.
I give it a 9.5, and I only give it a 9.5 because, like I said, no DCU movie is perfect to me. They all have their hiccups, and the one hiccup with this one is just, even though the editing and the pacing was great in this movie, I do feel like it would have benefited a whole lot more with a little bit less runtime, because 4 hours is kind of tedious. It's a very long movie, but man, I've seen it. It's a 4 hour movie, okay, or at least 3 hours and whatever some change. I've seen it about 6 times already, and I need to add more.
So good.
But it's a great movie. 9.5 for me. Man of Steel's a 10 for you.
Yep.
Anything else before we wrap up this pod?
Nope. That's it, man.
Yeah?
I mean, I can see it, and as long as you can see what I'm seeing, it's Man of Steel.
I see it.
We get it.
100%.
The other ones, they can fight in the back because I'll never touch top spots.
Yeah, no, those are the top spot because you can tell Zach had a plan. You could tell had love, care, everything was implemented into these movies, and like seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League and everything, actually coming to light, like you can tell Man of Steel was weaving something. BVS was weaving something, and for it to finally hit that point, and it was gonna go on to something bigger and the back end, it shows how much time he put into that.
Yeah.
And and Warner Brothers may have got their hands in there and fucked with BVS a little bit, Suicide Squad and everything, but having that big ass fucking W of having Zack Snyder's Justice League come to light and everybody seeing it.
Yep.
It's great. It's a great installment. DCU will never be the same. I'm sorry that it's ending, but this is our ranking for our DCU, DCEU, whatever you want to call it now. That's our ranking. We do, like I said, we do have some more movies coming out. We got Shazam: Fury of Gods, Aquaman 2, we got Blue Beetle, and we got The Flash. So we will be keeping you guys up to date with all these and putting these in their appropriate ranking spots, and we'll be giving out actually reviews for these movies. But if there's anything else, if you guys want to let us know your guys' ranking, if you guys want a certain review of a certain movie, make us go a little bit more in depth on the list that we gave out for the DCEU, go ahead and let them know where they can let us know.
At FilmBros Podcast on Twitter and TikTok, if you want to follow us there, that'd be great. If you want to listen to our other episodes while you're doing whatever you do, Spotify and Apple Podcasts at FilmBros Podcast. And if you have time to watch us on YouTube, at FilmBros Podcast.
Yes, sir. With that, like I said, that's our ranking for the DCU. And we'll see you guys on the next one, right?
Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, later.